Blitz. Let's introduce our casters, Purge and Blitz, see what they think about today's match.
I'm pretty excited to watch the game. Tongfu took a 2-0 versus Navi yesterday. IG's been looking pretty good as well, so I think this is going to be a pretty fair matchup.
Yeah, overall, I think this is a really good matchup between two really good teams that have done fairly decently, so I don't know how excited I am. We'll see how the games go.
Just saying you're not excited to be here? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm just going to try to be a little more even and reasonable, but Tongfu absolutely destroying Navi, the game that we saw. Actually, I think we casted that, right?
I believe so.
The Tongfu Navi games. And IG, I didn't actually have the pleasure of casting them yet. I'm pretty sure. Wait.
They're 3-1 though, so they're doing really well.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
They have the least losses out of any other team that's in Group B at the moment. So if they can take this 2-0, I think it was said they win the group, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that.
Out, they'll be 7-1, and nobody can be 7-1 besides IG.
Okay. So, and IG can definitely do that too with the way that they've been playing. And they're a really good team in general. I mean, I thought they would do a little worse, to be honest, but don't bet against IG. And I think they could have won too against that game that they did lose against was it Orange?
I think it was Orange.
Yeah, the second game they won against Orange. Orange just kind of pressured them all over the map.
So what do you say for predictions?
Putting me on the spot. Okay. If I have
and of course no wishy-washiness.
No,
so we have to pick,
no
we have to
1-1s.
That's
we
how
have
this
to
works.
pick 2-0s in this studio. There's no 1-1ing here.
Ben 1-1 Woo.
Ben 1-1 Woo. It's a really good nickname for him.
It's the alternate number to release to reach the Merlini police.
I'll say 2-0 Tongfu. Actually.
Wow, I was going to say 2-0 IG, though I think
that's a safe bet.
If I was
doing
the actual rules, I would do 1-1, I guess. But that's again cop out, major cop out. So I'm going to go with IG. I think IG has the better chance to win this. So let's hop into the game, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Of course, this is Beyond the Summit's coverage of the Alienware Cup, and this is day number 3 of Group E.
Yes, and IG, they're going to ban out the Batrider. They're the second pick, and Tongfu leading with the Lifestealer and the Nyx ban. I saw a tweet by godz saying, "Why do teams keep giving YYF Lifestealer?" And I really agree with that, because even though they lost, that guy dominates with that hero. I think it's his best hero overall.
Yeah, it's interesting. They just put him kind of in the off lane in a 3 position, and sometimes the supports are there and sometimes they're not. And the hero's really hard to kill. You can use Rage to go Magic Immune. Even if it's only a level 1, it's enough duration where you can escape pretty easily. And then they just max open wounds relatively fast, and at that point you have a decent disable, and gives you a lot of lifesteal, which is kind of fun sometimes. But mainly, I mean, he's just really tough to kill and can farm up decently.
Yeah, and I rarely see him mess up on that hero. And he's the one that actually does that Sanjin Yasha build so often. I see him get that all the time.
Last night he went Sanjin Yasha into Heaven's Halberd, which is interesting. I assume this is a waste because I was like, why not just disassemble and make one into the Halberd and have a Yasha left over? But apparently the mains do actually stack, so it's kind of cool. A lot of bonus strength and some slow chance, and it reduces attack speed as well, I believe. So it's actually kind of a nice anti-carry tool, kind of similar to a Basher, while still giving him good survivability.
Yeah, and for Invictus Gaming, the second ban is going to be the Alchemist. That's a hero that we've seen quite a bit lately. We saw Zenith, I believe, use it to great effect against Navi, where they had like the 9-minute Battle Fury treads on Yamate. And so that's one of those heroes that just kind of snowballs into control. But I mean, it just kind of has seen such a rise in terms of people playing it. And it's always one of those heroes too. Every time I see it get behind, people always seem to be able to catch up eventually, just because of the Grievel's Greed, the mechanic behind that.
Yeah, we saw quite a few games like that so far, actually. One of which I believe it was Orange or something. Some Orange was insanely far behind, like 4 deaths on Alchemist in the mid lane.
It's actually against Tongfu.
He ended up carrying. So a little bit of bad blood there between that hero and Tongfu. But they're going to first pick the Visage. Invictus Gaming gets to start off with the Darkseer and a Gyrocopter, so a lot of good AoE for them. They have a great offlane hero, and a hero that Zhou is going to be very capable of playing.
Yes, Gyro is one of those heroes we saw the Chinese have just kind of flocked to. It actually seems, in some ways, the West, because of the amount of tournaments and games that we have to play, we kind of give the East a bit of insight as well into heroes and picks, I feel. Like, I don't think it's just, you know, everybody does what the Chinese do.
Yeah.
And Gyrocopter, I was about to say Gyro's a copter that...
He is.
Gyrocopter is one of those heroes that definitely was more popular in the West before it started to see its rise in the East. And now they've taken to it so much. I mean, it's a first 2 pick every single time.
Yeah, the magic nuke that he has is just so good, and that's pretty common with any carry that can actually teamfight early without needing a lot of farm. So some of the more greedy, really hard carry heroes that are played often are like Anti-Mage and Faceless Void, but we don't see those as often. And really, around the time of TI2, we started seeing heroes that could contribute early, like Morphling with Waveform, or even Luna, for example, is really good at level 6. People are really favoring those heroes that actually have some nuke on their carry so that they can team fight if they need to in the early game. And Gyrocopter is definitely an example of that with Rocket Barrage as well as Cooldown.
Yeah, and Tongfu gonna pick up that Dragon Knight. I absolutely love that hero lately. With his ultimate, it's kind of like a mini Roar, as we've said before. The range on the initiation is so long. The stun lasts forever. The Breathe Fire is a great nuke for pushing, defending. It clears creep waves really easily, gives you good lane control, and most importantly, you get to push towers for free, essentially. It has a mechanic that allows you to do 100 damage to a tower every single time, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yep, he's really great hero at the moment. Hard to kill as well. I mean, he doesn't have an escape, but he's got naturally high armor, so trading hits with him for any typical mid hero is not going to be super easy. So, and there are a lot of heroes that actually played in the pool that have a lot of minus armor right now, like Acid Spray and things like that. Medallions are pretty popular in Visage. We even saw, who was the team doing this? I believe it was Orange. Whenever they pick Tree, they would always put a medallion on him as well, so having extra armor can be really helpful.
Yes. And we've seen that Dragon Knight build too, where you go Breathe Fire, and instead of getting the stun at level 2, you play a little greedier, and you got the Dragon's Blood. Just so you have the HP regen in the lane. It's actually quite significant too. It's 2 free HP regen, and 3 armor, which is fantastic.
That's like a free Ring of Basilius and Ring of Regen, without the mana regen, of course.
Yes. So, in response, IG gonna ban out that Clockwork. So both teams right now, they have Tongfu has a support, an aggressive support, and they have their mid hero, because Dragon Knight is naturally going to go mid. And for IG, we've got the Gyrocopter, who should be the safe lane carry, and Darkseer, who should be the off lane for IG.
So Invictus Gaming is apparently not very scared of the enemy's carry heroes, because they're just banning out supports in the long laners. So is it going to be an anti-mage? Is it going to be some nuke hero? Who knows? I find Visage is pretty good against Gyrocopter. I feel like I've seen so many times Soul Assumption just flying through and bursting him down for this last bit of HP, because it does give you a really good ganking support combo. Shadow Demon's still in the pool, by the way. He has not been banned yet, which is a little surprising. He can combo with Visage, not the best, but it works. But if they grab another really aggressive support hero to combo with the Visage, we could see a lot of roaming against Zhou to try to shut him down in the early game.
Yes, and Enchantress going to be picked up for IG, actually. And a Weaver right off the bat.
Interesting.
So that might end up being Tongfu's long lane hero, or maybe they even decide to aggressive tri-lane with something like the Weaver and the Visage.
Yeah, they
definitely pair it with a stun.
The nice thing about Weaver in this matchup is Invictus Gaming doesn't currently have any stuns, other than the homing missile, but Weaver can easily dodge that by going invisible. So it's going to be really hard for Weaver to get killed at the moment. They still have 2 picks left over, and there's not many bans left on Tongfu, so there's a pretty good chance that they can draft heroes that are going to make them look better. And this happened last night, actually, when Na'Vi ended up playing against, was it Tongfu, possibly? Where Dendi picked up, or they picked up a Storm Spirit because they were low in disables, and then the last 2 picks just really cemented the counters in, and it was enough to be able to counter the hero. So maybe we'll see enough stuns come out of Invictus Gaming for the last 2 picks here.
Yeah. And Gyrocopter actually, most don't actually even level that homing missile at all.
Yeah, 1 level tops.
I haven't seen 1 level is even rare at that, just because it does so little damage, and it doesn't really do a whole lot. And the stats you gain are a lot more important, just because Gyro's a hero that actually has really low HP, and so getting any extra stats that you can, always a plus.
Yep, Templar Assassin picked up by IG now. Templar Assassin, a pretty strong mid-control hero. He works out quite nice against Dragon Knight. We saw the matchup last night when Na'Vi played against Tongfu. The downside for that was that Dendi ended up getting ganked a lot by an Enchantress. There was a lot of roaming on him mid, so despite him beating the Dragon Knight in CS, he ended up dying quite a few times. I believe he went 0-3 in the early laning stage, so not the best example of a TA versus Dragon Knight matchup, but if they can last it anywhere near as well as Dendi, then the TA should have a last hit advantage, though Dragon Knight will be able to push runes a little bit better.
And I think Tongfu might actually offensive tri-lane with the Windrunner and the Visage, and put the Weaver against the solo Darkseer. That actually wouldn't be too bad. Just because you're a range hero against Iron Shell, you don't have to actually get that close. And IG's lineup, it seems pretty well rounded, but they are lacking quite a bit of disables, and they have to deal with a hero like Weaver, who goes in and out of fights. You know, he just flits around, and Windrunner, who with the Windrun, it makes it really difficult for her to kill without any stuns or disables.
Yeah, and they still haven't grabbed a stun yet. They've still just got Homing Missile and Vacuum and whatever Enchantress is working with, so man, it might be a really weird game here for Invictus Gaming. Unless they snowball in the early game, then it doesn't matter much. Their team fights can be good once they actually get there, and they can also pressure early towers with Enchantress. So they have a lot of stuff that they can do in this game potentially.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see Ferrari's Templar Assassin. That's
really
the hero that he absolutely dominated with at TI2. Shout out to Bulba. He's going to hate me for saying that, but I know he's watching. So when he had to play that Invoker matchup against TA. And
that is not a fair matchup.
Yeah,
though.
I know he's like saying like, dude, you can't even do that, but because I know how Bulba sounds, but just a little bit of a tease. We're good friends, so.
Yeah, Templar Assassin can easily beat an Invoker in last hits in the early game.
Yeah.
So.
But TA in general, with the Refract, it makes it really difficult for her to get harassed, and it gives you a free harass and deny mechanic as well, since Refract doesn't waste any deny charges, as some of you may know. And a Sand King going to be picked up, and that's the first major stun that we see by IG. But it's a greedy one too, just because you need levels on him.
Yeah, we've been seeing a crapload of Sand King the last couple days, and we've been talking about this a lot, about how weak of a support he is if he doesn't have levels. It's absolutely true. But if he can get a couple levels up, he is by far one of the best ganking support heroes, in my opinion. The stun duration is 2.17 seconds. It does fairly good nuke damage, and he's fairly evasive as well. So if he can get the first couple levels in, it is actually pretty scary to face, because just having that reliable stun is better than heroes like Vengeful Spirit or Crystal Maiden ganking. And a lot of the times, Orange, they were super talented at ganking yesterday. They really made the hero work and look good, honestly. So I'm feeling better about Sand King than I was the last couple days.
Yes. So I will introduce Tongfu's lineup. We've got King J going to be playing Windrunner. San Sheng, he's going to be playing the Visage. Banana. Oh god, I'm in love with that guy. He's going to be playing the Crystal Maiden. Moo's going to be on the Dragon Knight. And rounding out Tongfu, we've got Hao playing the Weaver.
So that is Team Tongfu. I believe they're currently 2-2 in the groups. They are up against IG right now, 3-1 in the groups. IG's Faith is going to be playing the Sand King. We've got 6th, also known as Chuan, playing Enchantress. I saw in chat, by the way, DPM said that he's not going to change his name back to Chuan until they win a championship or something like that.
Why is his name 6th?
That's why. I don't know.
Because they got 6th or something?
I don't know. Maybe it's like some weird tag and like hard work. Road to TI3.
Is it one of those like I'm not gonna shave my beard until we win something?
Yeah,
kind of
except he's changing his tag. It's probably just a really lame excuse to change his tag. Be it like it's about hard work, but really it's just he wants to just.
I don't know,
Dota
man.
players really like changing their tags.
I know that more than anybody, but
yeah. All right, let's go do the rest of the lineup. YYF is playing Darkseer, Gajo on the Gyrocopter, and last player is gonna be Ferrari playing the Templar Assassin. So most likely going to be a TA on the mid lane, off lane Darkseer, and then a Gyrocopter Sand King dual lane, pulling Sand King to get him some levels, and then possibly ganking jungling Enchantress, which could be very good. Windrunner is definitely a hero that can get shut down against this kind of setup.
yeah. And for Tongfu, I'd imagine they might even offensive tri lane here, and then stick the Weaver at the short lane, and then put Moo in the mid. But I also wouldn't be surprised, just because King J plays that off lane so well, if he's just kind of sent up there to die. But it feels like it'd be kind of a waste of potential. Maybe even put the Weaver in the tri lane. But looks like he might be going to the short lane. Yeah, and he's going to pick up a salve.
Goes for the double tango, 1 salve build. He is expecting to take some Iron Shell harass, so it's always good to grab a little extra regen here. He can make a Basilius on the side lane, pump up his damage by about 6, and at that point he should be able to outlast it the Darkseer. And that, wow, look at the lanes right now. It looks like IG is expecting Tongfu to dodge, I guess. I don't think they want to go aggressive with Gyrocopter. I guess they could, because they do have an Enchantress, so that they could get some early ganks off, but it's going to be interesting. In the meantime, Tongfu is now pressuring for the Radiant jungle. IG does look like they're committing to an offensive tri-lane here. Do you think this is the right choice?
It's a little scary putting the Enchantress like that, but maybe they anticipate the Weaver being the solo bottom, and actually just trying to dodge that
The tri-lane?
The offensive tri-lane, yeah. So if that's the case, that'd be quite good, but it's going to be quite difficult for Faith to actually pick up levels here for free.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be off pulling somewhere, but that might not be the case. In the meantime, Darkseer sitting on the top lane. He's going to be up against Windrunner, I guess. Windrunner or Visage maybe is a possibility, because Visage is still going to the top lane. And I guess it is an aggressive tri-lane, so it's a Windrunner, CM, Visage, aggressive tri-lane coming out of Tongfu. Not something we expected, and that's going to mean a solo Weaver on the bot lane. This is actually okay for IG. I think they have pretty similar attack ranges. They're going to have sentries as well, and this isn't too bad. If there were actually supports in the bot lane, I would be way more worried for IG here.
Yeah, and Banana actually waiting by the haste rune. Maybe try to set something up. YYF is actually going to be quite safe, though, by that tower, and he should be able to actually do the jungle camps as well, so
yeah,
quite difficult for him to die.
And Chuan about to start off the jungle as well. He has the smoke, so he can go gank the enemy mid if needed. Again, Dragon Knight's armor is pretty darn high, so it's going to be hard to pick off that kill. But Ferrari actually going a little extra on item builds. He grabs an extra salve on the mid lane. This has pulled him actually both Wow, both regen items pulled to him on the mid lane. So he's going to get a really, really fast bottle here. Gank comes in
mid
though.
on Ferrari.
There's Frostbite falling things off. Soul Assumption gets thrown down, but the Refraction comes off cooldown, and he will end up surviving really close, actually. He pops a
But
salve.
the salve's going to get broken.
Wow, he didn't think that extra attack would come, and that's going to cost him a ton of HP. That's like a 300 damage auto attack that CM just threw out. And a big greedy mistake there from TA puts him at low HP, and that means that she can actually just sit mid and force him out of CS range. He does have his bottle at least, so it's not the end of the lane for him, but a little bit of a loss there.
And maybe opting to actually dual lane mid against Ferrari, at least until Mu can kind of even out, get his bottle, and just kind of shut her down early. And Ferrari going to get frostbitten, then run back, and that's all of the refraction charges. But at the same time, she should have her bottle right now. And in response, Enchantress is going to send this Harpy, which I know that you're obsessed
she found
with.
a Harpy. Oh my gosh.
I know you love the Harpy.
It's one of the best jungle creeps, especially as an Enchantress. It's by far the best creep you can pick up, and that's because it costs 50 mana. You can cast this 10 times, and it does 105 damage after reduction. Watch this. Every single time comes CM, unless she gets the Frostbite off, and now it is 100% dead.
Deny it.
That is
Oh,
one
and she
support
doesn't get
hero.
the deny.
That is one support hero that just hard counters the Harpy harass, but really, really lucky that they had a CM for this. Or maybe on purpose, who knows. But the Harpy normally can just do an insane amount of damage.
And King J actually going to be soling up here against YYF, and he's actually doing really well. YYF known for being able to exploit that 1v1 matchup just with his individual skill. But King J holding his own and some, going 11-6 in last hits right now against YYF's 8-0. And actually this bottom lane, Faith, it's going to be spotted out. But it looks like Banana's actually going to be able to still get the pull off through.
Yeah, the CM has actually picked up her level of Arcane Aura, but that's because she ran out of Clarity Potions and she drastically needed mana, so 1 point in this is going to give her an extra 2 mana per second, and that's also going to apply towards a lot of core heroes. Most importantly, Windrunner is going to definitely need mana. With more mana means more power shots, and also Weaver on the bot lane. Same goes for Sakuchi. You can use this ability very, very often to do damage and harass, and now he's got extra mana pool, so the CM Aura is definitely going to pay off in those 2 1v1 matchups, and even Dragon Knight, same thing. Like, this is something we used to see a long time ago, like a couple years ago when CM was all the rage. She would go 1 Nova, 1 Bite, and then she would max Aura, just because the extra mana for all of her lanes would ideally help them win those.
Yeah, and lane's actually going to be swapped here. Gyrocopter going to TP top, so that's going to cost him some time and money. And YYF, he's actually level 4, so he's just going to do fine in the jungle. And meanwhile, Chuan's going to free farm in the jungle as well, sending creeps periodically to help Ferrari out, even out the matchup, and maybe give him an advantage. And Faith going to rotate top. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to pull. The creeps just did die. And he's only actually level 2, so doing quite poor right now.
Yeah, he got a little experience from the regular lane, but it's not looking the best for him. He doesn't have boots just yet. Joe is now in position as is Faith, so they will get the neutrals. They're actually missing some of these, but it's going to be a much harder lane now for King J. But he already does have level 4, so he's honestly not doing that bad.
Yeah, and Mu being harassed really hard by that Wild Wing Ripper. Just kind of right-clicked him on top of that, and he actually tried to stun it by the tower, but unable to get the kill. But Mu's doing about as well as you'd expect a Dragon Knight to do mid against a Templar Assassin.
Yeah, it's not bad. He's at 13. I mean, compare this to the 18 of the Templar Assassin. Ferrari will be able to pick up the Illusion Rune on the top lane. And going back to the mid lane, he's going to be just fine. So it looks like we will see some roam to the top lane. This is a Smoke Ink on Crystal Maiden. She also has Crystal Nova, so the initiation range is pretty good. They'll have a Grave Chill follow-up, and this could definitely be Zhou's death. We'll see. Level 3 into Power Shot. Here comes the first disable. Will we see it? There's the Nova. Just need the Frostbite, and that is going to be a dead Gyro. He's going to buy a TP Scroll. Oh, man, the Crystal Maiden's getting blocked. He's going to be able to escape. Power Shot keeps him alive. At 58 HP, not enough to get him killed. CM was too slow there, and unfortunately, they didn't have a Shackle to get any mini-stun, and CM, mega slow hero, can't get the Frostbite off. If they Frostbit him, he was 100% dead.
I don't know. I think Sansheng could have thrown that Soul Assumption, though, a bit earlier, and they would have been able to pick up that kill. But
yeah, I suppose so. I mean, it does only do 20 damage at base, but if he got at least 1 level of soul damage and he would have thrown that out, he could have gotten the kill, absolutely. So we'll see a Frostbite on the Hellbear Smasher. They're going to try to last hit this. We'll see if it denies. Oh, great Power Shot to guarantee they get the XP. And Chuan can definitely pressure this, man. Enchantress is so good in the early game. Even these creeps do piercing damage, so they're not very good versus heroes, but the amount of disables you get out of it, and as well as HP, makes you really a huge threat.
yeah. And CM actually, with her 280 move speed, needs boots just to be able to do anything, and it's going to be difficult to gank for King J's lane. He went for this Windrun build, which I actually like, especially if you're going to long lane, but it makes it difficult for your supports to gank for you, because you can't straight away initiate.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It gives you the extra 0.75 seconds of evasion. You also get an extra 8% slow upon your opponents, but the one level of Shackle Shot, when you often use it, it costs you 90 mana, and it's a very small stun duration, 1.5 seconds. It is going to hurt your Shackle being maxed out earlier, but it is a lot more evasive. So.
And how actually being forced out, YYF actually has 32 CS right now, leading the game. Although it is kind of skewed because he has neutral creeps, but...
Yeah, this is a pretty good trick to do when you're playing a Darkseer, just kind of pulling the creep wave from the bot lane and pulling it into the jungle in a place where you're pretty safe. And now Weaver has to last it under tower. It's not horrible for him because he does have Geminate, but it's not something he would like to do. He'd rather just be CSing in lane. And while that happens, YYF clears the lane really fast, and that buys him time to go to the jungle. And this really makes Darkseer, by far, one of the fastest leveling and gold farming solo heroes in the game, just because he can do this. Mix between the lane creeps as well as the jungle.
Yeah, and he's been untouched at bottom, although Hao's going to be able to right-click him out, and I think YYF's going to have to pop the speed here.
This could be a little bad for him. Here comes the bugs. Will Hao continue the chase? He's got a Sakuchi in 1 second. Salve is popped, actually. Very, very wise there. And that actually does heal through the bugs. If he didn't press that Salve, I think it could have maybe been a Weaver kill. And Hao was at least able to force him out of the lane, so pretty good attempt there.
He would have lost a lot of time farming, though.
Yeah.
And he would have also been in a really weird, precarious situation where he would have been behind 2 towers, but... it would have been kind of close, I think. Maybe he could have gotten the kill. He would have at least needed to chase for 2 more Shikuchis. But opting not to do that just because it does push the lane out. You're not able to farm or deny anything. So opting to go back to farm. And he's actually doing quite well for himself. He's got 35, sitting right behind YYF, who comes right back to the bottom with the buckler.
That's going to help a lot, actually. It gives him +7 armor, basically. 5 armor from the buckler itself, and then you can activate it for an extra +2. And when Weaver does almost all physical damage in the early game, not exactly true because Sakuchi does do magic, but even still, the Geminate right click is going to be drastically reduced by it.
Yeah, and Dragon Knight doing quite well for himself in this middle lane against Ferrari, just with the help of this Crystal Maiden. But Ferrari, unable to really get anything started yet. And the thing for me is, who is he going to gank?
Windrunner has tons of evasion. The Sakuchi from Weaver.
Oh, in middle, actually, Moo's going to get jumped on.
Oh, the initiation comes. Faith has already stunned. We did see Ned as well. A couple more right clicks. He pops a magic wand. Actually, now bottling. Great breathe fire, and Sand King's going to go down. They're turning it around. Both teams were geared up there. 2 smoke supports. They were ready for that fight. Banana taking right clicks now. He's not going to be killed at all, but really nice fight there. They dove really hard in Dragon Knight, but that's a perfect example of the hero. He's got a magic wand already. He even had a belt of strength, and all of this bonus armor just made him so difficult to kill.
Yeah, and actually the stun going to go on Ferrari. He pops the wand and the haste. Should be just fine.
Wow, took a lot of damage. Oh, there's another slow Faith looking for the Burrow Strike. Will he die this time? Another Burrow Strike comes in. Wow, TA goes down, actually. Not what IG wants, and Faith eating another stun. That's going to be 2 kills on the mid lane. IG trying to snag kills themselves, but they keep going on the Dragon Knight. This guy is hard to
kill. Joe's going to pop down to the Windrunner, who actually
Wow.
lands a Shackle and the Power Shot combination, and that's another kill. 4-0 right now for Tongfu. Better rotation, more patient play, and the counter initiation of Crystal Maiden and the Visage is just doing wonders for them.
Yeah, those supports have so much damage. Really, all IG was working with. They are mostly a disable heavy. At least their gankers are disable heavy, but they don't really have the damage to combo with that. Like, Burrow Strike is a great damage and disabling spell, but Enchantress ganking pre-level 6, she doesn't do that much damage. She just has a decent slow from whatever creep or disable she has. And that's pretty much it. TA does some damage output, but again, Dragon Knight hard counters that with all this armor.
Yeah, and the bad thing about this too is that IG support should naturally have more levels just because they have a jungler who's been dedicated jungling. But because of what just happened, Crystal Maiden and Visage just spiked right back up, able to catch up, and that's not exactly what you want to see, especially with the dedicated jungler. That was the first time Chuan actually came out to gank and unable to accomplish too much. In fact, getting his teammates actually just killed.
Yeah.
Not that it was, you know, his fault or anything like that, but they had to take a risk like that. And Moo did the smart thing there too, where he stunned Ferrari because he knows he's the damage source, and then able to get away just fine.
Yeah, that's a really good point there. Throw the stun on the TA. They got nothing else left over. A little meld strike and right click, but he needs really like 4 or 5 hits to score anything. King J looks like he's going to die in the top lane. Faith able to get the right click here after a Burrow Strike. Looks good for them. Level 7 on Gyrocopter now, and he's going to push the lane with his Ring of Basilius. That is going to shoot up some of the net worth here for IG. Darkseer actually in a lot of trouble bot. He's getting ganked. There's a vacuum running for his life, but more right clicks, and Hao's going to snag this kill. He turns on the buckler. Oh man, he's still alive.
He might actually
Pops into the bottle charge. He's got a surge in 2 seconds. Soul Assumption's going to clean him up though. Big damage once again from the Visage, and most importantly, made better by the fact that Crystal Maiden has 2 levels of aura, so this guy's got plenty of mana this game. And now an Arcane Boots, because he has got 4 kills. He's got half as many kills as he has CS.
He's actually done quite well in that department, just because the nuke is so good at last hitting. Not that he wants to take the last hits or anything like that, but Hal's going to be just satisfied with that, being able to get some free farm during this meantime. And Darkseer goes down about 700 gold from his mech. King J opting actually, I thought he was going to get something different, but he's actually going to mech as well. But he's only at the headdress, but he does have phase boots and magic stick. Meanwhile in mid, Moo's just going to be pushing in. He has the illusion rune, pops the ultimate, and Ferrari actually just kind of turns back around. And the illusions are going to have the dragon form effect as well.
Yeah, it's really fun to do these. The poison damage does not stack here, but you can reset the cooldown. And he can just do little things like that. One of his illusions will occasionally attack the tower, or they'll occasionally attack a hero. I wish he was being a little bit more spreading of this. He's not putting any of the poison damage on any of the heroes, which I wish he was. Like, put one on Ferrari, break his refraction, put some on Sand King, for example, put some on the tower. He could have just kept his dots up for like 3 seconds there if he needed to.
Yeah, and actually going to be forced back by the appearance of Faith, who is actually level 6. I've seen Sand Kings do this build more and more often where they get the stats. They only get 1 level of the Sandstorm, and instead of getting the Caustic Finale, which doesn't actually help them too much in the early game, they opt to pick up a level of stats, because what is that extra level of Sandstorm really going to do for you?
Yeah, I think it's the right choice, honestly. It gives you, what, 26 mana, it gives you 38 HP. Faith is going to cover a DD rune on the top lane. Should be seeing Ferrari picking this up. Great rune for a TA. Both Haste and DD are really strong.
YYF took some damage. Gonna have to run back soon, but he should have mech in about a minute or so. Maybe that's the cue for IG to start 5-manning.
Well, if they do get the 250 HP heal, what is Enchantress farming? She's just going for Tread, so she'll have a bit of a damage source here and some heal. Faith has his Epicenter now. Ferrari is level 8. He's got Treads. He's got a DD. They could push off of this, honestly. Gyrocopter's a little low in HP, so maybe they would get bursted down fairly easily, but the mech advantage that they have right now is pretty big.
For a second, I thought Crystal Maiden had a Wraith ban, because I saw the chicken fly over her. I was like, that makes no sense. That'd be the craziest thing I've ever seen.
What was it?
What? No, she just got a smoke instead, but...
Where was the Wraith ban going? Bot lane?
I guess.
It was an Aquila for Weaver. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me right now. I was like, wow, why is she
drunk?
I was just about to like explain to the viewers, like, why would she get a Wraith ban? It's like, I need to formulate reasoning for this.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Interesting skill build from Hal, by the way. He's doing a little Geminate and actually a lot of Swarm. Looks like he'll be maxing that out next.
I think he anticipates the team fight coming a bit earlier. And so just in case that does happen, that's what Swarm is more useful for, whereas Geminate attack is just better overall in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah, it is really good for team fights, especially on little support heroes that don't necessarily have good attack speed. You can force them into a decision. You say, okay, well, you either stand there and attack the bugs, or you're in trouble. Hal's going to be diving a bit, though. There's the bugs on a Ferrari. Do they have a sentry down? It looks like it's placed. Soul Assumption. Breathe Fire goes down. He's solo, but can Chuan make the plays? He turns on the heals. They're turning things around. Epicenter gets finished from Faith now and chasing after Moo. 3 dead heroes. They do end up losing Sand King, but who cares? Off of a dive like that, that was some sick plays from IG and some desperately needed kills.
Yeah, the Ion Shelled Sand King, popping his stun and getting the ultimate off just did way too much damage. And 2 squishy heroes, and the Dragon Knight not able to survive. Faith is picked off, but I think IG is more than willing to take that trade. They managed to save the tower, and they're going to put some damage on mid themselves. But Crystal Maiden going to TP right back here. Ferrari does have a DD, though.
He might get Frostbite here. Crystal Maiden has picked up her ulti. A little surprising to see, but the tower's almost in deniable range. 7 HP, actually. So perfect time to stop there. They might be able to clean that up later. No deny coming for now. King J's about 500 gold away from his mechanism. So once he grabs that, we're going to see the teams equalize a bit.
Yeah. And I think Windrunner, if she is actually there, that fight could have gone a little bit better. It could have been there as well. I mean, the distance is so short. Opting not to, though. Sun Shing actually taking everything right now. He's got 5 kills and a tower now.
That's pretty common for what we see out of Visage, honestly. Almost every game we see this support hero played, he gets an insane amount of kills, just because of Soul Assumption being such a high damage nuke.
Yeah. Power Shot can be used on Joe, who actually isn't farming too well, unless he's got something coming on the Courier. He's actually got the Ogre Club going, so BKB instead of a damage item, maybe just a little bit more afraid this game, especially since there are quite a bit of disables on the side of Tongfu.
And nuke damage. I mean, again, the Soul Assumption is huge Crystal Maiden has some pretty good nukes, and even Dragonite Breathe Fire and things like that. If he's Magic Immune, that shuts down almost everything Tongfu is going to be working towards. They're still going to have right click from Weaver, but usually this guy goes defensive items first, so I think a BKB is a great choice this game.
And how going to be pressuring out this bottom lane? Somebody's going to have to rotate before he does too much damage to this. And no catapult creep, but still, not a creep wave for a little bit. Ferrari actually going to be the one to rotate over. He actually picked up an item of his own. Might be just, he's going to go for an Ogre Club as well. So it looks like he's going to actually, yeah, it looks like he's just going to go for a BKB as well. Opting not to go for a Blink Dagger or anything like that, or maybe the Drums Yasha that we've seen become a little more popular. And King J gonna deny that top tower, and I think mid tower was denied as well. So quite a bit of money denied out of Tongfu.
Wow. And
they're smoked up as 3, trying to get behind Ferrari. Doesn't look like he knows he's there.
Oh, he's going to be running right into it. He does have a ton of HP. Gets a Refraction off first. There's the Frostbite. Centaur has placed down the Nova as well. Man, this guy's really tanky with all the strength items, but the damage output is so huge. The double familiar and every single nuke that these guys had. I love how Dragonite, by the way, saved the DD. Really, really wise play there.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to try to push down this tower. Joe is smoked, and Faith is sitting behind him. He actually picks up his urn right there. So YYF actually going to get stunned out. Is the Frostbite going to come? There's the nuke. The mech is popped, though.
Wow,
and the call down Vacuuminous.
Oh my gosh,
that was an epicenter as well.
I can't believe it. Moo's going to get killed as well, though. King J now right-clicking on 6, and 6 running for his life. Power Shot lands. He's going to try to snag at least 1 here. Last tick goes through. King J gets picked off. Chuan making some sick plays, and everybody on Tongfu is dead. How did that turn around? It looked like such a bad fight for IG, but all of a sudden, the vacuum from Darkseer was perfect. He stayed alive. He went into melee range. He's like, I'm probably dying. We need to win this fight. I'm going to Ion Shell myself and do some AoE damage. Worked out really nicely for them.
Manages to get the mech off. Then gets the vacuum, the call down, and the Sand King manages to get a 5-man epicenter. And that just did so much damage. I mean, you literally got every single big damage spell you wanted off. You got Flat Cannon, Rocket Barrage, the Sand King ultimate. I think he got like a 4 or 5-man stun as well.
Sim's trying really hard to kill this Gyrocopter, but he's going to get out of there. Really dangerous, actually, from her. Only 1 level of Frostbite as well, so the disable's pretty weak, but her nuke damage is okay. So, man, they win a team fight, 5 kills. They lost 2 or 3 heroes, I believe, and they do take a tower off of it as well. So, really nice team fight from IG here, and that's going to pull them back into it.
Yeah, but I think they are going to take this tower. Tongfu just going to go straight back in. Although IG looks prepped for this defense.
Yeah,
Joe actually is going to get a BKB soon, too, with that.
Yeah, no kidding. He's only 500 gold
And here we go. Moo's going to get initiated on.
We will see a vacuum. Maybe the bats are going to land, so that's going to stop things. It's a scary hero to overextend like that. Like, they could have vacuumed the Dragonite, but it would have been maybe AoE after that point, and then they don't have a vacuum for the rest of the fight. Which means all the other support heroes and his teammates that are going to cover him are going to show up and be problemsome. Bats get resummoned here, doesn't want to feed any gold. Big cooldown on that, by the way, but no gold fed to IG. And IG looks like they want to take Roshan. Do they have a medallion or anything? I do not see a medallion.
I think the damage with Meld is enough, and Joe's just going to pop that Rocket Barrage over and over again. So they are going to get this Roshan, and it doesn't look like Tongfu's aware. They actually trade the tower out, and they have to be thinking to themselves, well, why didn't IG defend that?
Yeah. And, well, this is why, man. Pretty easy Roshan picked up. We'll see what they put the Aegis on. Most likely going to be Gyrocopter, especially if he gets the last hit. He will have his BKB finished, so I'm sure he'll love to grab that. And it's actually TA. Interesting. So since he doesn't have his BKB yet, and Joe does, they're saying, okay, well, we're not going to see Gyrocopter dying. It could be the TA. In this way, he can play more aggressive. And if he does get into melee range and can get some meld strikes off on some of those support heroes, we could see them die really fast.
Yeah, and Faith actually has been the absolute savior of this team. Tongfu was out by they were up by quite a bit, and then Faith hits 2 epicenters to just put IG right back into the game.
Yeah.
The mid one was so clutch, and then the bottom one, able to land every single person. Man, this guy has been playing Sand King absolutely phenomenally this game.
And that's why Vacuum is so good as well, just because it allows you to set those things up a bit more. Obviously, Faith has been doing a great job, but the 2 spells together force any good team that has good positioning to then not have good positioning, especially this early. No BKBs, so not a whole lot they can do about it.
Yeah, but Moo, he actually picks up a BKB just as you say that, just to kind of spite you, Kevin.
Yep, that's why.
He's like, you know what? I heard that.
Let me time this out.
I'll just try to make him look bad.
So Dragonite won't be caught in the wall, at least, and that's actually a pretty big loss because illusions of giant flying dragons with orb effects are really powerful.
Yeah, and How gonna continue to pressure out top. This is still a scary thing for IG. Although they've won consecutive team fights, the score is tied. They are It's about even in towers, actually, but they did get denied for 2. And at the same time, how
We're going to see a fight mid, actually. Vacuum comes in. BKB on Mu, actually, and he's going to TP out.
Yeah, he doesn't actually do enough damage.
Boy, was that exciting.
I'm just watching the Enchantress hit follow him into the base. Is that going to continue to go?
Where? No, it should disjoint, I think.
Okay, it actually just vanished. That was the most exciting thing about that.
That happens a lot, actually. I've done that before. I've been like, hey, let's follow this little projectile all the way back to
It's
base.
like, no. But Dragon Knight, the issue with going a BKB is that you don't actually put out any damage. It does make you a little more survivable, but no attack speed.
You get plus 34.
It's okay.
It's a very weak damage item, I agree.
Yeah, you need the attack speed so much more on him. Like getting something like Shadow Blade early, if you were able to farm really well, but those 2 consecutive team fights where I think he died for both of them.
I still think BKB is the right choice, though, because
of course.
Yeah, just being magic immune, you don't have to worry about vacuum number 1, no epicenter damage, no epicenter or Sand King stun. But most importantly, your cooldown on Breathe Fire is most likely going to come up again, and as is Dragon Tail. And extra stuns in a team fight and extra nukes are generally going to win you things more than the extra DPS from a Shadow Blade.
Oh, by all means, but it just means that if he gets in a situation like that, he can't really protect his supports because IG is not too afraid. I wonder what Hao's gonna. It looks like the Lincoln Sphere does pick up the recipe.
Well, there are weak disables on IG, so
I'd actually like to see. Oh, and Joe actually he's leveled homing missile to 1.
Woo.
That would actually just break it instantly.
Yeah.
Maybe anticipating the Lincoln Sphere, and that's the issue with an item like that. Although it does make you invulnerable against the Sand King, essentially.
Yep, it's gonna be pretty nice for that. But even still, it gives HP. It gives like 15 stats. It's like 25 damage now, I believe. It's not great, but the hero does need int. He does need agility, and he needs strength. So
in team fights, it's a little bit depending on how well IG coordinates, and of course they're IG, so they're going to coordinate very well. But in terms of ganking, it means that 3 heroes, like minimum, have to come and kill him. You need the Enchantress, I guess, with the enchant, or the Gyrocopter. You need a damage dealer, and you need a stun, just to get him out. And barring that, you might still not kill him because he's got time lapse. So in team fights, it's a little bit suspect, but in every other situation, just for the ganking and being able to split push, Kao's going to be really comfortable with just having the Lincolns.
Well, we'll see a power shot on Ferrari in the mid lane. The creep wave's mostly cleared. Shackle's not going to latch, so no threats there. But they want to take the tier 2 tower. Only hero not here is the Weaver, but he does have a TP scroll, so he's going to be fine. And in the meantime, he's getting a lot of CS. He picks up the Lincolns now, so lots of plus stats here. He's going to continue split pushing as the tier 2 takes some damage.
Yeah, Tongfu in position to defend this, but gonna fire off everything. Mu's gonna pop his dragon form as well. But I think IG has enough damage here, and I think they're comfortable enough to take this fight as well. YYF actually gonna get shackled.
Here comes the call down as well. He's going to get put really low. Can he get the mech off? He doesn't get the mech off, so he does get killed. Ferrari diving now after the CM. Couple impetus hits, and Crystal Maiden's going to fall. 12 seconds until another refraction. Great stun under tower. That's going to be Ferrari's first death. He'll be respawning in just a second. 15 charge on Wand. There's the Grave Chill. More slow. Soul Assumption is done, and 2 deaths on him. Boy, did they ditch him.
They were like, welp.
See ya, buddy.
Goodbye, friend.
Lost some important
And
heroes.
he was like screaming, protect me! But he actually has his BKB, so he's going to be just fine for the next fight. Boy, I bet he wishes he had controlled the chicken.
Yeah, and think how that started. That was a shackle shot. A pretty good shackle shot.
Pretty good. It stopped him from using mech.
Yeah, but it's mostly the setup. Like, he felt safe. He's like, okay, I'm a Darkseer. I've got pretty good armor. I have a mechanism. I have a 15 charge wand and a bottle. Very unlikely I'm going to die, but luckily for them, the Dragon Knight was in perfect position. He was positioned about here. Darkseer gets stunned here under tower, and they just follow up the shackle shot with the Dragon Tail stun duration. At that point, that's like 6 seconds of stun. You can easily burst down a Darkseer during that. So, and a lot of heroes, by the way. It doesn't really matter how tanky you are, but just shows the power of Windrunner there. That won them the fight, honestly.
Yeah, of course. And it was a perfect shackle shot too. And his team, Tongfu, they spent no time responding. They immediately went after the Darkseer, chain stunned him, not able to get the mech off. And if the mech was able to get off, maybe they're more willing to fight there. But just because you weren't able to, IG actually gathering up his 3, but not going to be able to do anything to Hao. He's just going to run away, maybe go to the jungle. And I'd like to see him get a damage item now and make himself more of a target in these team fights.
Yeah, it's definitely a good strategy, I think. What item would you go for in this game? Do you feel like Radiance is okay because they have Blink Daggers and it's good against TA, or do you think Radiance this late is not a good choice?
I'd rather actually see either a Butterfly or an MKB.
Really, a Butterfly?
Maybe if you think Zhou, who actually has a high propensity of getting butterfly. I mean, we've seen him get most of the games he's played. Actually, all the games that I've seen in this league so far, in the Alienware Cup, I've actually seen him get butterfly over an I'm like MKB, so maybe hard counter it before he can ever get it going. But
we could see that. TA actually purchases something, expecting maybe a Yasha, perhaps. I actually don't see what it is. Maybe she hasn't bought anything.
Oh no, she's poor.
So poor. I was like, okay, 400 gold. She obviously bought something.
No,
she
just
is
the BKB. Not having the best time in terms of CS, only a 99, and actually Ferrari is 0-3-1 right now, only participating in 1 kill, not getting a whole lot out of that, and that's just because the fight at bottom, where his team completely wiped them, he was actually dead for the great portion of that. And I think middle too, he got blown up. It just seems like both the fights he's like never been in. Well, he has been in, but they initiate on him first. He just gets blown up.
It's a good reason, man.
That must feel so terrible.
Losing? Yeah, dying.
Dying?
Getting focused. IG's gonna smoke gank though. 4 of their heroes are ready to go. Faith does have his blink dagger.
They might actually run into them. Be careful, Banana.
Be good. The familiars are gonna stun, so they won't have high ground vision. And here comes. There's the blink stun.
Actually has a blink.
In trouble. Rocket barrage puts him really low. Eats through his armor. Super easy kill there. Can they kill the bats? They can.
And bat gold is the best gold.
There's no tastier gold, guys.
Yeah, nothing really feels better than when you kill familiar.
Yes. Force this guy into respawning it. That's going to be his cooldown down again. And they're going to turn this into a tier 2 push. So a second chance at this. How's going to teleport back to base.
Maybe not. Ferrari's on the other side of the map, and How actually TP's in for this.
They put a sentry down, though. They are going to be able to spot him. 1 nuke on Zhou. He doesn't want to pop his BKB. Just
there's the shackle.
Zhou is going to be in trouble. Maybe power shot comes through. There's the Sakuchi. He doesn't want to pop BKB because he's just going to die afterwards. And 2 hits. The heal is not enough. Gyrocopter does end up going down.
Who coming in from behind?
BKB.
Stuns YYF.
He's taking right clicks, no shackle on him, and 1 more Dragonite hit. He's going to pick off the Darkseer. Now trying to hit with Ferrari. Ferrari's quite tanky.
And Faith misses the wall jump. Oh, he's so dead.
He's going to go invisible. He can blink. He's going to be able to blink away.
Oh, Banana should have actually just popped that ult a little bit earlier. Faith managing to get out by the skin of his teeth, but I think that was more of a misplay by Tongfu, letting him get out there. For some reason, Banana wasn't willing to waste his ultimate, but I don't think you're really going to get in a better position than that. But still, Tongfu makes the hold, and on the back of King J's excellent back-to-back shackles.
Yeah, once again, just showing the strength of the hero. They did a great job, but they were unable to kill both the Sand King and the TA, who were low but did not end up dying. So that might cost them a bit here, or at least they're not going to snowball as hard off of this as they could.
But they are going to get a T2 in return.
That's pretty good. So 3,000 gold on Weaver as well. He can definitely work on his next item. Picks up the tower last hit, so he is quite rich. And CM's doing okay, honestly. When you have an urn and a wand at this point, you've been warding the whole time. She's got to be happy.
She's done a really good job in general for surviving the fights. I mean, it's 28 minutes in, and you've got a lineup like that on IG, and you've only died 4 times, and she's been in more fights than that. So that's kind of the way that I like to gauge how well the support's doing. How many times they're being picked off individually, and not very much this game by Banana. I mean, as a CM, you're like the lowest move speed hero. You have to anticipate dying off the bat.
It's never fun, but I mean, you just got to accept the reality.
It's your job. Like, that's the description. Like, are you willing to die a lot? Well, here's the hero for you.
You willing to give all the glory to your teammates?
Does nobody want to ever remember anything you did the entire game? Except maybe 1 missed spell?
Unless you do like the sickest juke ever.
Yeah. But
you're definitely not going to make it in the top 10
Actually,
place.
How going to pick up Radiance? There's the Sacred Relic. So he does end up going for the decision you did, Kevin.
I'm the man.
He's actually just going to make Ferrari even more useless.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about this game, too, is that tower top was essentially full HP. And the worst thing about that is that's a tower that had full HP, and you've been trying to push this mid tower that's had like 500 the entire time, and you're being unsuccessful. That's just such a waste of time. You haven't been able to farm anything either. And Joe actually going to go for that Eagle Song.
Radiant is coming in on the Roshan pit. There's the power shot. Almost kills the Centaur. Roshan's going to finish off. The bats are coming in.
They're going to keep going for this. And there's the stun.
They did get 1 shackle. Not going to land. Double BKB. Perfect initiation from IG. They're going to be happy with this one, but can they get the kills? All of Tongfu is running for their lives. The Shadow Blade's up on Dragonite. He is going to evade everything. And the wall grabs them 2 illusions. Bats are going to be dead completely here.
Yeah, but Faith is going to wait on top of this hill. And he's the hero I'm going to wait for. Maybe they end up actually trying to finish Roshan of their own. Tongfu looks like they're actually just posturing. How going to take off these creeps in middle. And it looks like IG just going to reset a little bit. Wait for a second. The wall is going to go down here in a second. Tongfu waiting for that. And there are actually no BKBs on either side at this point. And I think that might slightly favor Tongfu as they have the Weaver. Can actually just kind of right-click in, do damage. It looks like Tongfu is going to force them to swing back around, and Tongfu wants this. They want to fight in the open field, not let Sand King just get the free initiation off.
Bugs are going to come through on IG.
Wow.
Little stun
is
here.
a gyrocopter rocket going to land for once in competitive Dota?
That would have been the first time. Didn't happen, though. Tier 2 tower is going to go down. Windrunner gets the last hit. Shackle. Ooh, that was very close. YOF backed off just in time. Could have been the start of something horrible.
And Tongfu going to go into the Roshan pit, and they're going to have the better position for this, too, if they end up going for it.
What does IG realize? They still have really good ward vision here, and they're going to see Tongfu retreating away. So, no fight just yet. The bats do get resummoned. Level 2 bats, actually. And Visage really close to finishing his Aghanim's on top of that. So,
Wasn't there a haste rune at bottom? Am I going insane?
Not sure.
I'm going insane. I thought for a second there was a haste rune at bottom, but they're actually going to go straight back into Roshan. This is an awkward position to be in, especially they do have their BKBs back up, but Ferrari taking a lot of damage, and Faith goes in. No epicenter on him.
No BKB activated for Ferrari there. They're in a lot of trouble. Great shackle.
Faith actually going to come in from the side.
Epicenter comes in to support heroes. Crystal Maiden is so
low. Goodness, pause.
Oh my gosh, the pause on Visage. And really unfortunate timing, but they got to pause it, man. This guy is still alive.
Oh god, this is so awkward. Do you see like the glacier?
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, that
I got
was
this.
awesome. Yeah. But okay, so
Warcraft 3 or some shit.
Let's take a look at that fight really quick. Faith goes in, lands the burrow strike, and then realizes, okay, I'm actually going to have a really difficult time getting my ultimate off. So he channels the ultimate and then walks it in. And he's actually going to be able to pick off Banana with this, I think.
He's got a burrow in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And these heroes are really grouped up, so.
The thing, though, is YYF is really low. Zhou, his BKB is about halfway done. He looks like he's going to die, too. San Sheng might die here. King J actually has just about full HP. And during this time, the big thing here is that he's got Lincoln Sphere up. He's got his ultimate is on cooldown, but he does have his Shikuchi up, so I think this is kind of a bad fight for IG. And all of Tongfu actually disconnects.
Well, they'll come back, guys. I think that means they give up, right? That's the game.
They just, wow,
like,
IG.
Like,
looks like they're about to win the fight.
That epicenter was too pro, guys. All right, so YYF's going to die for sure. The problem is that basically YYF blew his wall. Actually, his wall's off cooldown. He just doesn't have mana.
Yeah. The fight, they fought, and then they took the mid tower, and then they waited like 20 seconds.
They waited long enough for the wall to
everything
come
came back up.
But it doesn't matter. The mana pool's not there. YYF's going to get picked off here, most likely. I assume we'll see a soul assumption, probably. He definitely has full souls. This guy's dead. Yeah. YYF's going to die when the reconnect comes. Zhou is out of cooldowns. He's using Rocket Barrage, but that's not going to be enough. And Ferrari got killed before he even got the BKB off. I mean, that first initial stun was absolutely huge because he couldn't get a Meld Strike. He couldn't do refraction damage.
He's running back in, though. And the big thing here is I think we don't actually know yet. I think Tongfu's in a better position here. But if Faith is able, his stun's coming back up in a second and a half. I think that 2 is going to be a little shorter. But if he's able to land a 3 or 4 person stun off of this, then he might be able to actually salvage this fight.
It's a giant. Crystal Maiden's overpowered, man.
Holy crap.
It's like Ice Meteor or something. It's pretty cool.
This fight, though, I mean, it was a little weird of IG to go back into the Roche pit knowing that Tongfu was going to come back in.
Yeah.
And it just seemed, when you fight into a small funneled area like that, it makes it really easy for Tongfu to spread out and then kind of base their attack like that.
Well, it's working out for them at least on the Epicenter's grounds. I mean,
I don't actually have the same. Oh, wait.
Can you not find the icicle?
I can't find the icicle. This is
man,
terrible.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe it's just. Oh no, I can't find it like you can.
I'm just.
Maybe it's my computer is
broken.
broken. Yeah. You are a special little snowflake.
Ice flake. Call me an ice missile.
Oh wow! Look at that. That looks so much cooler than yours.
Oh dang, that one's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nobody can see it.
Nobody can see it, but I'm like right under the ice shard, and it looks like everything is being hit by it at once.
His camera is essentially 5 feet lower than mine is for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, so yeah, it's not looking very good for IG here. They really, really need to win this team fight because it's going to be a Roshan going to Tongfu. If they win the fight, if the Roshan goes to Tongfu, they'll probably put a cheese on, I don't know, did they need to put on Weaver? Maybe. If he has the Radiance, he definitely doesn't want to die. If they could put the Aegis on him, they could definitely pressure our axe.
The underrated thing, too, is Roshan has decided to enter this fight, and we don't quite know his allegiance yet. You don't know who he's going to start attacking. What if he attacks Hao right now, gets a bash off, and then the fight just like turns around?
Hey, you never know.
That'd be the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Just like permabash? I don't think How even needs to do damage. I still think they're going to win this fight. They have all their heroes up. And
I actually think Zhou should just turn around and start fighting, because it's going to be so difficult for him to get away. And his BKB is up. Maybe try to get as much damage. Fight's going to resume. Here it goes.
Soul Assumption YYF does go down.
Banana actually lives.
Oh my gosh. The Burrow Strike comes through. Darkseer goes down. They actually pick off the Dragonite. Somehow TA is doing the work. Oh my gosh, they turned it around. How did they do this? Thought for sure this fight was over, but IG is on the chase. They're going in. Crystal Maiden's dead. Lots of buybacks on the Radiant team. I am so flabbergasted.
Faith able to stun out everybody, and his ultimate did more damage than I initially thought it would. And How gonna go back in here, but Faith being able to land that ultimate consistently, not even blinking in that time for it.
Oh, they're fighting another stun on Zhou. He's very low.
Oh, and there's the shackle.
Great Burrow Strike to slow down Moo's damage. At least Zhou's going to be picked off most likely. Yep, Ferrari right-clicking Moo now. He does have Shadow Blade in 2 seconds.
And that's a 4-staff as well. And Faith is going to go down as well.
Wow.
Ferrari may take a drop here too. I think that's his Aegis. And the call down going to come down. And How's going to get blown up.
Oh, time-lapse at perfect time. And Moo comes from the top lane. Now right-clicking on Zhou's buyback. No BKB for him. He's going to get killed the second time now. Right-clicking.
And another
Faith
death
goes
on
down.
Faith. And Ferrari going to pop his BKB. Trying to go on Moo. But oh, he's so slow.
Tries to get away. The sentry barely within range.
That was a gem actually on How.
Man.
Oh god, that was
how back and forth was that?
That was the craziest fight.
All right, IG wins the fight
when they should have. They looked like they were gonna lose when we were paused,
and then they take Roshan,
and then they get stomped
and
in the follow-up.
Tongfu stomps them. Like, what is going on?
Oh god, and that was such a sick fight. Did you see King J manages to land a 2-man shackle, 4 staffs the DK into safety? Absolute perfect play by this guy. If there is an MVP for this game, King J has saved this game more than once. I'd say he's actually won 3 different team fights just on the back of his shackles.
Yeah. And how lucky was that? Actually, Dragonite went to the high ground. He actually found a tree path to escape.
Yeah.
So that he got out. Otherwise, he would have been trapped up there. He would have had to TP back to a tower. He doesn't even have a TP scroll. Man, that was
that
absolute.
4-staff, that can't be understated too. The Dragonite was 100% going to die. Moo was taking so much damage. He was being focused. And then he had the Dragon form, and he was able to just fire down into there for free.
Yeah.
And wow, Tongfu picking up a fight.
Let's see what the gold graph looks like. It is up and down. EXP graph is usually a pretty good indicator of a team fight, and there it is. The swing down and the swing back up as EXP goes back in Tongfu's favor. The game is still extremely close, though. The main issue, though, is the core items up on IG's heroes are not looking so good. Ferrari has picked up a quarterstaff now, which is like the poorest way to build a butterfly, guys. But he's only got BKB.
I gotta do this.
That's all he's got. He does still have meld, so he's got some minus armor out of it, but is Zhou even accelerating? It does have Butterfly on the way, but he bought back in the last fight. I mean, how many people bought back there? Oops.
Yeah. And the crazy thing, too, is
5.
How is 2,100 gold?
Really?
So once he picks up another damage item, he can't be ignored anymore, and he has to get blown up first.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. What do you think he's going to pick up? We said Radiance before. He's got good damage
MKB?
now. What about like a heart or something?
Heart would be pretty good too.
Their damage
I think he needs a little more. Yeah, I think he needs a little more tank than he currently has.
Yeah, I agree. He almost died that one time at the.
Oh, that was such a clutch time
strike
lapse.
And barely a little bit of rocket barrage. The guy almost died.
The call down was coming down right when he time lapsed. Yeah.
Super close. Looks like Moo has attack speed. Yep, he does have a Hyperstone. Going to be an AC next for him. The plus armor that'll give will be very useful for him and his team. Yeah. Just because of Meld Strike, more right click from TA, even the Flat Cannon, all works out great.
So for 6 minutes, we didn't see a single kill, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a pretty passive game. And then, wow, completely proving me wrong. Tongfu and IG putting up such a great fight right now.
Yeah, when the games are close like that, it just forces them to, they say, okay, we can probably win a team fight, and they'll both go for it. And they'll buy back, and the coin flip, man, it makes it a lot more fun to watch, that's for sure. There's an Aghanims up on the Enchantress as well, by the way. That increases her attack range by a lot, so more damage coming out of her. And she has actually maxed out Untouchable. Fun to see this. We haven't... It was recently buffed to scale a little bit better. It does 110 at level 4. It used to do only 80, so all around better skill and very good against heroes like Weaver. So that'll keep him quite survivable.
Yeah, and it looks like Hal might actually be going for that heart that you talked about. Saving up the money. If he was going to go for the MKB at this point, he would have just sold the Magic Wand.
Yeah, or the Aquila, either one.
I think he should sell the Wand, man.
Yeah.
He needs the armor.
Yeah, well,
the Meld did so much to him.
Aquila only gives you like 1.5 armor, but most importantly, actually it only gives you 1 armor, about...
Is that
no,
it?
I'm sorry. I was thinking the agility component, excuse me. It gives you +4 armor with the agility, plus the Ring of Basilius. But most importantly, it gives you 15 damage, which is great with Geminate, so...
It's free damage. How gonna just be pushing up this, and Tongfu gonna go around and sit behind How, who's gonna be pushing out this tower, and they're actually gonna go for the high ground advantage here, but IG doesn't look like they want to fight at all. If they were gonna defend this tower, they would have been TPing in 30 seconds ago.
So they're just going to farm for now. Darkseer's going to want to pick up a BKB, I think, and or an Aghanim Scepter. I'm not really sure what he's going to be snagging here, but most of IG, like you said, is not defending. They don't care. Tongfu
They can't
thought it was
fight.
going to be contested, but didn't happen.
Sansheng actually finishes his Aghanim Scepter. How many times do we see that happen? And it looks like Hao's not going to actually buy out yet, saving his gold. Go for the Divine, buddy.
Maybe. We've got a triple bird up, though, for Visage, so a lot of right-click coming out. 5 minutes left until the Roshan respawn timer. And just more passive farming from IG. They do have better late-game carries, I would say. Gyrocopter is a better late-game carry than
I don't
the
know
Weaver.
about that, though, but because the Weaver is a lot more effective at being able to pick off supports and isolating.
Yeah, but Gyrocopter overall does far more AoE damage.
But how does
like,
Gyrocopter kill a Weaver if it's a one-on-one fight or something like that? The
Rocket
Weaver
Barrage
can
is
like
pretty good.
but the Weaver can like kite you indefinitely.
I don't know. I think, yeah, one-on-one, sure, Weaver is a bit better than Gyrocopter, but in terms of teamfight presence, Gyro's doing way more. I think that's fair to say.
Maybe. I mean, how is so much
Call
farm at
down,
this point?
Flak Cannon.
Yeah, but I mean the
homing-
Radiance,
homing missile, right?
the Sakuchi, the Swarm.
Let's just name all of their abilities.
And that's the argument.
Stats, attribute bonus.
Geminate attack,
Whatever.
strength treads.
He looks
He's got
like
a heart
bug.
recipe.
Bugs are scary.
All the bugs, man, they have escape abilities. I saw that. Like a
that true?
picture. It's like, think about it. There's Sand King, there's Broodmother, there's Nyx. They all have like invises.
It's got to be some bug that is.
There isn't. I dare you to, there definitely is,
You
but I'm
dare
going to
me?
speak out of my ass.
Pretty safe bet. The chances of somebody calling you on it are low.
Actually, there's a lot of people watching, so it's quite high. And
Only if stream chat works.
YYF maybe going to get BKB here. He's got the Ogre Club. And we've actually seen Darkseers get BKB quite often lately.
It might be a good choice. I mean, think about the first fights. All shackle shots.
Yeah.
Shackle shots into Dragonite stuns, and that's a dead Darkseer. He needs to be able to vacuum wall. He's almost 16 as well, so the extra damage he gets from this is going to be great. He's going to want to snag Dragonite mainly, but with BKB up on him. Oh, it's down to 4 seconds, though.
Yeah. And Moo's got an Assault Cuirass, so that's quite a bit of farm. And King J's getting really close to that.
Well, there it
sheepstick,
is.
And here comes the tower push. Glyph is popped. Hal, meanwhile, is going to be farming out bottom for as long as he possibly can. Looks like they're going to wait for his heart first. And Ferrari just going to backdoor these creeps. Looks like they don't want to directly engage quite yet.
So Hart picked up on Weaver. He's got about an extra 1,000 HP out of this
I think
now.
they're all just going to go
So
bottom tower now. Because they're like, well, Ferrari, you're going to go there. We'll just go here.
That's a pretty good choice there. A couple impetus nukes on the melee creeps, and those will fall. IG ready to defend. We're going to see bugs come through. There's the vacuum. Actually not going to see an ulti out of it. Just trying to scare him out a bit.
Yeah, Joe actually pops the homing missile onto the Weaver, breaking that Lincoln's instantly. And that's what we talked about early on.
Yeah.
And why the item might suffer some usefulness.
I would like to see him skipping these last couple stat levels, though, and putting skill points in a homing missile. I think at this point in the game, the extra percentage HP and damage you gain out of stats is so meager. If he can just get the cooldown of homing missile down and just start that channeling off of on a Dragon Knight or something, I don't know, like if the stun lands at all, if one stun lands, I think it's worth the skill points because it's like a roar.
But I don't know if it will land, is the issue. You never.
Team fights are crazy. You never know. I don't know. The
I think
cooldown-
Tongfu, though, they'll be shouting. They'll be like, rocket, rocket!
How do you say that
In my were you gonna say how do you say that in
I'm
Chinese even
quite-
though I'm Korean?
Yeah, maybe. I was just hoping you would put
Wow,
some
these work
emotion into it.
environments
I
so
don't know.
difficult to work on.
Anyways, Lincoln Sphere has a 17-second cooldown. You could at least match the homing missile to it with a single skill point. So
Okay.
how about that?
yeah,
how
I
about
can see the skill point at this point.
We got a Lincoln's counter in the natural homing missile. It's not going to land, but you can block a Lincoln's with it. In late game situations like this, I just can't see an
Oh my
extra
god, are we
30
really
HP doing it.
stressing a homing missile
just-
over?
I want that skill to be good. I'm like,
He's a professional player. I'm gonna just trust his judgment here.
okay,
So
all right.
how gonna be just constantly split pushing, and actually Ferrari. Normally, I might agree, Gyro might be better here, but Weaver's farming a ton more than he is, and the Dragon Knight is vastly out farming anything Ferrari's getting going.
Wow, he is actually at number 3, so yeah, he's doing really, really well.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the net worth right now, base right now with quite a bit more than everyone else. Then Gyrocopter and Dragon Knight right behind him, and after that, the drop off is quite a bit.
Yeah. They do have some pretty good counters against the top farmer, though. Again, Weaver, he's got a lot of HP right now, but his armor's really low. He hasn't grabbed any agi items this game. He just went for, well, Lincoln's doesn't really count that much, but Radiance and Heart gives him a lot of damage and survivability, but it's not quite the same as stacking agi items. So Meld Strike can put him really low in armor, and they could definitely burst him down after this. So Tongfu still has to be careful. Weaver is not invincible this game.
He's invisible at top. Looks like he's going to initiate on Joe, who's got a 6-second BKB, and
he's waiting.
Getting him to waste one of these. Oh, he's going to wait for the stun too, and he is completely dead.
Wow. He could pop BKB, but he can't TP from it, so he might as well fight it. Call down comes, power shot lands. He does pretty good damage there. Just such patient play from Mu there. He didn't want to initiate right away because he knew he had to wait for backup, and he waited until the TP was about 3/4 finished before he threw the stun. Just really, really smart.
If he had initiated on early too, they wouldn't have killed him.
Yeah.
Joe would have just popped the BKB and TP'd out, but he's like, well, what would happen if I wait this half second? If he's going to BKB TP out anyways, then there's no point in this.
Yep.
So either I get a BKB charge, or if I wait half a second, maybe he goes to the TP, and Joe smartly trying to TP into the side, but Mu waiting right there with him, and that's the great thing about Shadowblade on Dragon Knight.
So Ferrari's very, very close to finishing his butterfly, about 600 gold away, but I think he's not going to get it in time here. As we're about to see Tongfu go high ground. The evasion on all these heroes is really useful at the moment because we don't have very many MKBs in the game. There's the buyback from Gyrocopter. Going to force him into that one. Mu takes some damage. Burrow Strike on him. The impetus damage puts him pretty low. That pure damage is huge. His BKB started, and it's going to run out almost as fast as it came up.
Oh god, the birds were about to die, but able to save that out. BKB popped on Ferrari, so he's at 6 seconds. Joe's still got a 6-second BKB as well. And what's Dragon Knight looking? He's only got a 4. And How actually going to just go top now. And Ferrari, things are going to look really scary for him just because the Radiance burns his refract so quickly.
Yeah, it is really scary. He's going to have to deal with that somehow. I mean, at least he gets plus damage from it. In the late game scenario, the armor and the protection from it is maybe not as important. Vacuum's going to be burned here. That's how it goes aggressive on the high ground. I don't really know why he did that. Maybe Tongfu just
backs up and sends the Dragon Knight to farm bottom and resets and wait for the Roshan.
So where do you go next on a Dragon Knight in terms of an item build here? Would you go MKB? Just try to counter all the...
Maybe, or you could pick up a heart and become unkillable.
I don't know if that would make him... Well, alright. Their main damage source is actually Enchantress against the Dragon Knight. I mean, he has so much armor at this point.
He's got an axe, too.
The pure damage is huge. Look how much armor this guy has. 11 plus 27? It's like 40 armor. Pure damage is absolutely what counters Dragon Knight.
It's 38, Kevin.
Yeah, you think I don't know that?
He gave me the most serious look.
I'm so insulted. No, anyways, Dragon Knight has a ton of armor. Pure damage is great against him.
Oh, and IG.
But I feel like he needs more.
They totally know this is happening right now, Tongfu, and they're actually going to come in.
Here's
the birds. Oh, okay, they almost died.
Man. That was like 1 or 2 splashes there. They look for a power shot on the high ground. Here comes the team fight. Do we have BKBs up for Mu? He does have it. He doesn't have his ulti for 10 seconds. Homing missile gonna land.
Oh, it's gonna land for once.
Oh yeah. You guys see that?
The most exciting thing about this game, screw those team fights. Homing missile's gonna land.
Guys, Gyrocopter's almost forced to put skill points in homing missile, so I won't be able to complain anymore.
They're actually just gonna send How in here to just do this, and if they initiate on How, I mean, he can always get 4-staffed. King J can always move him up.
He is losing some HP though. Heart does not cover you against Roshan. I don't know if IG realizes. Yeah, they just put the trap down. They see what's happening now. How losing about 1/3 of his HP or 1/4 of his HP from the Roshan right click. So
it's scary too. YYF is in position. He's got a BKB as well. Faith.
Love where Faith is sitting.
Yeah, he's got a Iron Shell procced on him.
The Sentry Ward fight, man.
And How just kind of going in and out, waiting and waiting and waiting.
Just killing the sentries endlessly here.
Do they have any left? Okay, they have 2 left, so they're okay. Ferrari gonna throw down another one, and Joe, he's gonna go in. Call down goes down.
BKB on Mu. They're gonna try to snake it before they can get in there. Roshan killed by the Radiant Dragon Knight.
Faith is too far away with his ultimate. That does absolutely nothing.
Mu taking right click as well. There's gonna be a burn through. Wow, Dragon Knight gets killed the first time. IG's winning the team fight. I can't believe it. All their core heroes are up behind on the side. Whatever.
Mu's gonna come back in and
run. The cheese is popped, something like that. Somebody just got a big heal. Ferrari's still right-clicking, and How is doing some Radiance burn damage, but I think IG is just going to back up from this one. Tongfu's able to finish up Chuan.
How are they going to back up, though? Vacuum goes off, but How is going to continue to chase this. He's going to get slowed by this trap, though, so...
They do have a lot of movement speed, and the butterfly up on the TA is making him very, very hard to kill. And this is the timing that IG really needed. There's no MKBs on the Radiant team yet, so they have all this evasion, and the Radiant team doesn't. So their hard carries, including Weaver and Dragon Knight, just can't focus fire down people.
Yeah, the thing, though, is the fight, I think, was in Tongfu's favor. None of their big heroes died. They got 2 kills in return. They did get the Roshan last hit. And although they lost the Aegis almost instantly, somehow actually YYF took the cheese, I think.
Yeah, I did see somebody get healed.
Yeah, and he was able to pop that off at the last second, but IG, really difficult for them to fight now, especially with Hao being so farmed. And he's going to pick up a butterfly soon. There's the armor he needs. There's the attack speed. How do you kill this guy at this point without a sheep stick?
It's going to be really hard. Yeah, absolutely. They need an MKB on TA next. She actually picks up a Mask of Death. That's not going to give her what she needs.
It's cheap, though.
Yeah.
And it does give you some more survivability, and it gives you cheap damage as well. But at the same time, King J somehow manages to farm Scythe of Vice, despite there being like no farm on the map.
Well, it's been a while since we checked on his items. I mean, he has had Force Staff for a long time, so eventually that's going to trickle in, and you're going to have a Sheep Stick. And that's a great counter to the Butterflies. I did check the BKB cooldowns a second ago. We have 5 seconds on Gyrocopter, and TA is down to 5 as well. So Hex becomes even better at this point in the game, because the amount of time that you're going to be magic immune is very, very low. So that's going to remove the evasion and allow you to burst down some of those important heroes.
Yeah, Faith in that last fight was just too far away to land his epicenter.
Oh,
like
was that what
he
happened?
actually channeled it out, but he was so far away from everyone that it actually did 0 damage in that fight. Maybe
That's
they
really
could have actually taken that fight if he was there for that. Well, he was there, but if he was a little bit closer. But Hao actually finishes his butterfly too.
Which one is Hao again?
He's the Weaver.
Dragon? The Weaver? Okay. Wow. So Butterfly finished.
He's got 5 stacks. He's got a gem, 47 minutes. He's by far the most farmed hero, and the Dragon Knight is just behind him. What did he actually opt to go? He actually picks up the Vitality Booster, so maybe he is going for that heart.
Okay. So he's going to go for a heart, more HP. That'll keep him better against the Enchantress. He'll have more disables. His damage potential is actually really low right now. He's got 132 plus 40.
You don't really need, though, just because of the Frost Dragon, and the Weaver is going to be doing the most of the damage. So all you need to do is kind of buy him time and tank for him.
Might see initiation. Nope, Hao was going to back off. That was the Lincoln's Breaker. Breaking the Lincolns. Bug's going to the high ground. YYF will take some damage. Tower's actually getting hit. Vacuum comes through, pulls him behind the tower. There's a BKB pop. Tower goes down. Zhou pops BKB. There's no targets, actually. There's the sentry put down. Faith goes Sandstorm and running for his life, but Hao's at full HP still, and IG can't really hold off on this. The bats are going to get resummoned again. Impetus damage, doing tons of damage versus the bats. Really nice counter there.
Ferrari does have his BKB up, but Zhou, he's got 4 seconds left. Muox actually popped his BKB as well. But in a situation like this, I think this favors Tongfu quite heavily, and Hao's actually just going to go in this bottom lane, continue to hit this tower, and force people to come to him. He is stunned out, but I think he'll be just fine. Vacuum misses as well. And there's another tower taken, so no racks taken quite yet, but IG about to lose all their outer towers.
Yeah, Tongfu's being really cheeky here, really pressuring all the sides. They're just kind of poking in using Dragon Knight and other heroes. His ulti's about to run out, so I don't know if they can still do this, but...
Oh, look at the chicken. Look at how much it has on it.
Oh my gosh.
There's a Shiva's Guard going to be finished on the Visage. That's the most farmed I've ever seen
and
on that hero.
That's a huge item for this game, actually, because IG has a ton of right clickers, and this doesn't even count the typical physical damage dealers like Gyrocopter and TA. This also covers Enchantress. It reduces her attack speed by 40. So as an int hero, I mean, this could be a sheep stick, but if he just stands in the team fight and stands close to these damage dealers, it's going to really reduce their damage output as a team. It's really smart pickup from Sansheng here.
Yeah, and King J gonna fire a power shot down the line. Looks like they are gonna go for this Rax this time. Just waiting on Moo's dragon form to come back off cooldown. That should be
They could just go high ground. Who cares, man? There's a burrow strike actually from Blink on Faith. And he gets forced away.
Is another rocket gonna land?
Here it comes, guys. 1, 2. No. Oh,
never does, man. Never does. And Tongfu being able to split push, forcing IG in a really uncomfortable spot in terms of a team fight. Faith in the front lines here. That's not where he wants to be, especially if he wants to get his ultimate off. And
boy, they are.
How gonna go for the top racks? While Mu is strong enough to just solo go for this.
Hey, the benefit, man. The glyph blocks 2 buildings. Faith looking to channel his epicenter. He does get it off, but unfortunately not able to get close enough. No damage being done there as King J did force away.
How taking this top racks during this?
It's going to be picked off. Maybe there's a great burrow strike. King J falls. Faith going to get nukes next. The rocket barrage hits a couple of heroes, but now on Zhou. Crystal
and Banana getting his ultimate as well.
Mu running away invisible, and YYF BKB running for his life. Friar's trying to fight it, but the damage output's not enough. 3 dead heroes on IG. 1 buyback now from Gyrocopter. Top racks. Melee has gone down. Faith goes good game. IG played their hearts out there, did their best despite the major disadvantages, but Tongfu was able to take the game. What an insane game. I mean, that was so much fun to watch and cast. Like, the Roshan battle, there was constant pressure. IG was on the verge of winning team fights, and they had little timing windows with evasion and things like that, but it just wasn't enough there.
Yeah, that just felt like a gradual build-up, too. It was like, no fights, and then action, 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 action.
Yeah, it really did. There's not that many kills, but there was a ton of action because of how tanky they were. It was hard to kill, like, all their core heroes, and Tongfu had a bunch of tanks as well. Fun to see Weaver play a hard carry role and actually out-farm his opponents, but congrats to Tongfu. They're going to win Game 1. My force prediction of 2-0 IG is incorrect.
Yes.
Still holding out for my 1-1.
Blitz Dota, as usual, always correct, never wrong.
Never once ever.
I've never been wrong in my entire life. Nobody's bothered correcting me. So, Tongfu going to take that win. Please, Kevin. And, wow, if I had to list an MVP for that game, King J, absolutely phenomenal play from start to finish. Being able to get that solo kill on Joe at top 2 with the Windrunner,
we didn't
that
talk
slowed down
about
his
that
farm
much,
as well. And Ferrari as well, not able to get any sort of traction in this game. But before we talk this game to death, we want to leave our analysts some things to talk about. So we're going to pass it over to LD and Merlini. So what were your guys' thoughts on the game?
Wow, quite a performance there from Tongfu. A long grinder of a game number 1, but they take it in the end. And there was a point in that game, Merlini, where Tongfu took 2 awful fights. They took a fight at the Tier 1 mid of IG. They took another fight at the Tier 1 bottom. And it looked like maybe the game was going to start to kind of unravel for them at that point. But they solidified their game plan. They played more defensively. They angled for late game. And from there, they stabilized.
Yeah, all they needed to do was survive the teamfight ultimates and the Sand King and the Darkseer. I mean, Darkseer was really underfarmed. He got one nice vacuum off at the bottom Tier 1 tower, but after that, he didn't really seem to do anything. He got caught in a shackle and just chain stunned down by DK. I thought that Mu had a really strong performance as DK, and he could just BKB and just man mode everybody. It was actually quite ridiculous. But
that poor Darkseer, I was like, man, he's still building a BKB 10 minutes later. He's still building a BKB. I don't even know if he got it in the end, but by the time he would have, they didn't have enough lockdown. I mean, we kept on talking about how it was just Burrow Strike, basically. In the homing missile, sure, you can bring the Lincoln Sphere of Weaver, but you're never actually stunning anyone with that in a fight. Unfortunately, that spell just doesn't do much aside from proccing the Lincoln. So I felt they really needed a Scythe Device on Darkseer, but just died too much, could not farm it.
Right, Tongfu had some really nice rotations early, too. They didn't let Ferrari get off to a good start at all. He wasn't able to get a Blink Dagger early, and he was forced to go a more defensive build with Trez and BKB. Those were his first 2 items, and we didn't really feel the snowball impact of a TA, and he doesn't really scale that well with items. He really just needs to get off to a good start and just like start crushing everybody. But against a DK, they tried to gank him on mid, and it just like completely turned around for them. And after that, it was just a very slow death grind for IG.
That hero is so hard to kill mid.
I know.
It's pretty freaking insane. And also, I mean, was a fantastic way to deal with a lot of those heroes in the fights. You get the instant stun off on the Templar Assassin, the Gyrocopter, and especially the Darkseer. I mean, it was actually a Shackle Shot that led to his demise, and that was the big fight for Tongfu, I felt, was that Tier 2 clash mid where you and I were saying there's been no shackles this game. That was when IG was starting to get some momentum, starting to make things happen. But then he delivers the shackle, and the rest of the way, King J played.
Oh, that Roshan fight too, where they bought back.
Well.
Oh my goodness, that was definitely the turning point of the game. I was like, oh, it's pretty close.
That was such a confident fight.
I didn't think they were going to win that fight too. I was like, well, they all bought back, and CM's dead, so they're like going in 45. But then the shackle set up, and Weaver was just extremely farmed up at that point. I
was pulling my hair out. Not that I have much left to pull out. It's pulling what little I do, and for me at least, the jinx continues. I said 2-0 IG. They've already lost 1 game. I thought they still had a shot in that game if they just hadn't gotten picked off so much, if they farmed a little bit more effectively, and particularly if they got a Scythe Device in the Darkseer and just more damage on the Gyro.
They didn't have any babysit for the Ferrari, too. Like, CM just kept, like, messing with her the whole time. And, I mean, Enchantress sent a couple creeps, a Harpy once and a Wildkin, but after that, I didn't really feel the impact of Enchantress at all. And there weren't any early towers, no, like, wrap around the tower ganks.
End of the day, Dragon Knight has Dragon's Blood, was bottle crowing. I think even got a handful of runes with some help from the CM, and just couldn't drive him out of lane.
Once he got a BKB, it was just like, how do you kill this guy?
That was the other thing, is they had the hero that just jumps in and starts the fight in the Dragon Knight, whereas if your Darkseer charges in, he gets Dragon Tailed and he just dies. If your Gyrocopter TA jump in, they just get kited by the Frost Dragon slow.
If they get hit by a Dragon's Tail, like the fight's gonna go really poorly before BKB. So
and Dragon Knight charges in, everyone from IG just scatters.
And I think that Weaver could have initiated a lot of fights too. He was like extremely farmed. He had like 3,000 HP with a Butterfly, with a Heart, with a Radiance, with the Lincolns, and he just let DK do most of the work. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad move, but he could have played more aggressively. But Tongfu played very calm, calculated passive after the T1 tower dive in mid and the T1 tower dive on bottom. After that, they really gathered their bearings and just, surgically, methodically, just...
Surgical, methodical.
Yeah.
A perfect adjectives to describe their performance. English is a hard language.
Very, I mean, it was like a little bit slow paced, but it was still very strategic game overall.
Yeah. And I think for Tongfu, that's the kind of pace they want. IG, I mean, you mentioned, and you still often say that the Chinese teams are very kind of slow, stable, defensive.
Calculated.
IG is often one of the more aggressive kind of firebrand teams in China. They love their aggressive tri-lanes. We haven't seen them as of late. I would like to see them try and force fights more early, maybe go for an aggressive tri-lane, go for some more smoke ganks, try and put more pressure on Tongfu.
It's hard against Tongfu, though. Like, if you look at their 3 solo lanes, they have Weaver, very, very difficult to kill. They have a Dragon's Knight in middle with Boost Bottle Crowing, and then they have Windrunner up top, who was kind of like babysat early and got that
hard lanes
levels.
to gank.
Yeah, so Tongfu, like, I think they're just well prepared for this sort of strategy.
We'll see what IG do heading into game 2. They drop another game here, and they're now going to be 3-2 in the group stages. So they had that guaranteed inside track if they went out to take first place. It's no longer guaranteed. It will come down to tiebreakers. Let's see if they can take a game off of Tongfu. Game 2 coming up after this.